everybody, I'm Lisa and welcome to my YouTube videos. In an earlier video, I told you about a few things that I do and a few things that I use here at my home that helps me to save money and to save time. Well, I had a few more things that I wanted to tell you about. Here at my house, we use the Swiffer Sweep and Swiffer Mop. Now, I like the little Swiffer Sweep. I keep this behind my bathroom door. After I've showered and washed my hair and blow-dried it in the mornings, I take my little Swiffer Sweep from behind my bathroom door and I run it over my bathroom floor. Well, this cleans up all of the hair off of the floor. It's very fast and it's very convenient. Well, one day, I wanted a Swiffer mop. Well, I looked underneath my bathroom cabinet and I didn't have any. So what did I do? I looked up underneath my kitchen cabinet and I got my Lysol all-purpose cleaner. Well, I took the Lysol and I sprayed down the Swiffer Sweep, and then I took this and I ran this all over my floors. Well, it worked for me for the moment, because what that did was it gave me time to put my Swiffer mop on my grocery list, and it gave me an extra day or two before I had to run to the grocery store. Well, and that worked for me. Okay? Something else that I like to do here at my house. I like to save stale bread. Now, a lot of ladies in the South save their stale bread to make bread pudding. Well, I don't make bread pudding, but I do make fried Parmesan chicken. Parmesan chicken is one of mine and my husband's favorite meals. So, here at our house, we use Nature's Own 100% whole grain bread. And I like whole grain bread because whole grain bread has a lot longer shelf life. But when it does begin to get a little too stale to make my husband a lunch out of, I take the bread and I grate it. Well, after I've grated it, I put it in one of these little veggie fruit bags that you get from your local market. Now, I save only clean fruit and veggie bags. And what I mean by clean is, these are bags that have had nothing in them but tomatoes, avocados, and apples, anything that is clean. Okay? Well, I put my breadcrumbs in here. I take my breadcrumbs and I put them back in the bread wrapper. Take the bread wrapper and I tie it, and I put the bread in the freezer. Bread will keep in the freezer for quite a while. Then whenever I'm ready to make that Parmesan recipe, I have ready-to-go bread already in my kitchen, and I've saved myself some time. Something else I like to do. I like to save coffee cans. This little coffee can is a grease can. Anytime I have fried anything in my kitchen, I take the grease and I dump it in this can. Well, when this can is full, it just gets tossed into the garbage. This bigger can ends up being a compost can. Any vegetable or fruit scraps that I have in my kitchen, I put in this big can, and this big can goes into the refrigerator. Well, once this big can gets full, I take it out back and I dump out all the fruit and veggie scraps into my compost pile. Well, then at that point, I have made use of three different things. I have a grease can, I have a compost can, and I've recycled vegetable and fruit scraps from my kitchen and made compost. I think that's just a good idea. Something else that I like to do. I don't buy soft soap. What I did was I went down to my local store, Target, Walmart, it doesn't matter. They all have these cheap little plastic dispensers. I have one of these in each of my bathrooms, and this one goes in my kitchen. Well, at that point, what I do is I go down to my local grocery and I buy their store brand dish detergent. And I get a big bottle of it, too. It's not very expensive, and I keep all of my little soap dispensers full out of this dish detergent. Well, because it's big, I usually always have dish detergent, and it's very convenient because I always have soap in my bathrooms and in my kitchen. And I like that. All right, something else that I like to do. Here in the humid climate in Texas, in our lawns, we get what is known as brown spot. Well, a little tip that was passed on to me is use your laundry detergent. I take a little dish and put in a gallon jug. I fill the gallon jug very slowly with water. Then I take that water and I pour it very liberally on that brown spot in my lawn. And within a couple of weeks, the brown spot is dead, and I begin to see grass grow over that spot. Now, I don't know about where you live, but here at my house where I live, this works, and I think that's fantastic. One more thing, WD-40. I have painted every room in my house, and I've painted a lot of the outside of the house. Well, whenever I do paint, I usually use a water-based paint. Water-based paint cleans up with soap and warm water. Well, one day I got in the middle of a little project, and I ended up using an oil-based paint. Well, from what I know, most of the time, the only thing that will clean up an oil-based paint is mineral spirits. Well, I went out into the garage, and I got to looking, and we didn't have any. But my eye fell up on a can of WD-40 sitting on a shelf. Well, I took the WD-40 and I sprayed it on a clean cotton cloth, and I took that cloth and I rubbed it all over my hands, and I got rid of every bit of that paint. I have to tell you, I was pleased as punch. Well, this is just a few more of the things that I do here at my house. I do my best to make use of everything that I have at my hand, especially if it will save me time and if it will save me money. Now, as I always say, this is what works for me, but I hope you have seen at least one thing that you can make work for you. So, until later, have a wonderful day, and so long.